He recognizes me, thank goodness, his children. You know, we are blessed in a lot of ways. He's very sweet. He doesn't know he has it.
He doesn't know he has Alzheimer's.
Family feud over his, although he estate, will reach the age of 80 in 2025. Million, although he will dollars reach the during his K.A. The legendary singer's estate was valued at just $7 million at the time of his death. What happened to his vast fortune, and why are his daughters taking legal action to uncover the truth? Tony Bennett's estate sparks legal battle. Tony Bennett's daughters and son are locked in a legal battle over their father's estate. The dispute came to light in February 2024 as his daughters took legal action against their brother. This family conflict revolves around the legendary singer's financial legacy and trust management. Johanna and Antonia Bennett made a bold move by filing a petition against their brother Danny in New York's surrogate court. Their target was Danny's position as trustee of the 1994 Tony Bennett Irrevocable Trust, which their father set up 30 years ago. The sisters' lawsuit raised serious claims regarding Danny's financial dealings. Specifically, they accused him of abusing his position as trustee of his father's estate by borrowing too much money and taking commissions from the family fortune. They also criticized a lack of transparency in the management of the estate, with him failing to provide clear records of the trust's finances and operations. Additionally, Danny was accused of breaching his fiduciary duty by failing to exercise his responsibility to manage the estate fairly for all beneficiaries. The sisters learned nothing about their inheritance distribution plans after their father passed away in July 2023. They remained unaware of major financial deals about their father's intellectual property. We have made repeated requests for information about our father's estate and have received nothing, the sisters stated through their legal representatives. The huge gap between Tony Bennett's career earnings and his final estate value stands as the biggest problem in this dispute. Bennett's amazing career spanned more than 7 decades, making him one of America's most successful vocalists. His career saw an incredible revival in his later years. His work with Lady Gaga, especially their Cheek to Cheek album and tours that followed, brought him new fans and boosted his earnings substantially. Yet his estate was worth only $12 million at the time of his death, even though he earned more than $100 million in his final 15 years. This difference raises questions about the money's whereabouts. The daughters' lawyers have pointed to several serious financial issues in the property dispute. One of the major allegations is that Danny borrowed $1.2 million from his father in 2020 without informing his sisters. Furthermore, he received a total of $4.2 million in gifts during his lifetime, double the amount his sisters received. In particular, Danny is accused of selling his father's name, image rights, and music royalties without informing his daughters, raising questions about the transparency of the family's wealth management. Danny has managed his father's career since the 1980s through his company, RPM Productions. His supporters credit his business skills for helping his father bounce back after a tough period in the 1970s. This legal fight shows deep family rifts despite past successes. Celebrity estate disputes often happen in families, especially when one member handles the business side. Family and business relationships need clear boundaries and open communication, said an estate planning attorney who knows celebrity cases but isn't involved with the Bennetts. The court must now decide if Danny met his trustee duties or put his interests first, as his sisters claim. Tony Bennett's daughters Johanna and Antonia filed court documents in early 2025. They presented a detailed case against their brother Danny about his mismanagement of their father's estate. Did Danny Bennett abuse his power while managing his father's estate? Serious allegations of mismanagement could lead to major consequences. Danny Bennett faces allegations of mismanagement. Danny Bennett's overlapping roles created major conflicts of interest. Court documents show he wore multiple hats at once. He served as his father's personal and professional manager with the power of attorney. He also managed Benedetto Arts and acted as trustee of the family trust. This setup let him operate freely without anyone watching, especially after Tony's mental decline from Alzheimer's disease. The lawsuit states, Danny exercised complete and unchecked control over Tony and his financial affairs before and following his death through multiple fiduciary and other roles of authority that Danny has abused and continues to abuse for his significant financial gain. The sisters point to Danny's lack of openness as their biggest concern. Court papers show they only got piecemeal information and documents that raised more questions than they answered. Their lawyers say Danny gave them only limited and incomplete information and still won't respond to their request for an accounting. The lawsuit against Danny Bennett makes serious allegations of mismanagement of his father's estate. One of the most serious allegations is that he made numerous transactions on his own, including giving himself gifts worth more than $200,000 from the trust. Danny is also accused of selling Tony Bennett memorabilia and the rights to his name and likeness without informing his sisters. Further straining the family relationship was Danny's alleged disposal of treasured items by his sisters in what they called malice and revenge after they requested a legal accounting. These allegations have raised doubts about Danny's management of his estate. Danny's financial arrangements raise serious red flags. Court papers reveal he took loans of $1.2 million from the family trust in 2020 after Tony's Alzheimer's diagnosis. The daughters say Danny approved excessive commissions for himself. He signed a management agreement in December 2022 while acting as Bennett's attorney-in-fact, RPM Productions president, and Bennett Family Trust trustee. This deal required a non-returnable advance of $50,000 in monthly payments to Danny's company, RPM Productions. Court documents state, these self-payments also included multiple checks Danny allegedly wrote to himself. A series of monetary gifts using trust funds that amounted to $200,700 and a $200,000 advance commission to RPM Productions in 2021. The sisters question a big deal where Tony Bennett's assets were sold to Iconoclast. Danny claimed Tony was in financial trouble and needed this sale. The daughters say records show their father still had millions of dollars when the deal closed. On top of that, they had little or no knowledge of the Iconoclast deal at the time it occurred, and were given no indication or information that such a deal was even being discussed. This deal earned Danny's company nearly $2.6 million in commissions. Meanwhile, Johanna and Antonia each received just $245,000 from the trust, an amount they say is nowhere close to what they believe they are entitled to receive. The lawsuit questions whether Danny violated his duties while managing Tony Bennett's wealth. Danny's records show that commissions paid to RPM appear to have been much higher than they should have been based on Tony's income. The sisters believe Danny ignored their father's wish to treat all 4 children equally. Instead, they say he acted to benefit himself and his children at their expense. Tony Bennett earned over $100 million in his lifetime. His daughters don't buy the explanations about why his estate was worth so much less when he died. Have you ever wondered how much a music legend like Tony Bennett was worth when he died? Let's explore the truth about his fortune and the surprises surrounding this number. How much was Tony Bennett worth when he died? Tony Bennett's financial legacy has sparked a family dispute. His actual wealth at death has become a contentious issue with family members citing different figures. The gap between Tony Bennett's career earnings and his reported estate value makes people wonder. Bennett sold more than 50 million records worldwide and earned 20 Grammy Awards throughout his career. His estate's value seems substantially lower than what he earned during his lifetime. Court documents have painted conflicting pictures of Tony Bennett's net worth. His estate was valued at just $7 million at his death, while some court filings put the figure as high as $12 million. However, publications specializing in celebrity net worths have estimated it as high as $200 million, further complicating the question of how the numbers differ. Bennett earned over $100 million in his lifetime. Some sources say he made that much just in his final 15 years. His earnings got a boost after 2012. Collaborations with Lady Gaga and other contemporary artists helped refresh his popularity and earning potential. His daughter's lawsuit points to this issue directly. They have significant concerns regarding the purported low value of Tony's reported assets. Johanna and Antonia also claim they have not received any credible explanation about what happened to Tony's substantial lifetime earnings prior to his death. The legal battle intensified due to specific asset discrepancies. Bennett owned valuable assets, including an extensive art collection, real estate holdings, and music rights. Court filings show the daughters lack access to detailed financial information. The lawsuit states that although Danny and his counsel have provided piecemeal information and produced some documents to petitioner's counsel, the information provided raises more questions than answers and fails to provide anything close to an accounting of Tony's assets and financial affairs. Court documents highlight several financial concerns. Bennett's catalog and image rights sale to brand development firm Iconoclast remains disputed. The sisters claim they have not been provided with various details of the transaction despite repeated requests. The court filing notes, it remains unclear what music assets and other property were or were not sold as part of the deal. Bennett's daughters believe Danny's explanation for the timing and reasons for the Iconoclast transaction contradict the financial information Danny has provided. Personal property management has raised questions. Claims state that Danny prohibited Johanna and Antonia from retaining certain items that are priceless to them. The daughters now seek unspecified equitable relief, along with a full accounting and inventory of the trust. They want Danny Bennett to share receipts, disbursements, expenditures, and tax returns to clarify their father's financial affairs. One estate planning expert noted, the significant discrepancy between known earnings and reported estate value raises red flags about financial transparency, a vital element of trust administration. The court's findings will determine how much of the legendary singer's estate remains for his children as legal proceedings continue. The true value of Tony Bennett's net worth at death remains unresolved. What role did the family trust play? The Bennett family's legal battle centers around a trust document that's decades old. This document sets rules for managing and distributing the singer's assets. The family trust, which now stands at the heart of the daughters' claims against their brother, has specific rules that clarify Tony Bennett's wishes for his estate. Tony Bennett signed the family trust agreement in December 1994. This document laid out the legal framework that would later control how his assets would be distributed after his death. Tony originally named both Danny and his son Deagle D. Bennett to manage the family trust together as co-trustees. The trust saw major changes in 2008. Tony updated the document by removing D from his trustee position and adding himself with Danny. This change put the control between father and son, leading to today's setup. Danny became the only trustee after Tony Bennett passed away in July 2023. This gave him full control over his father's assets. Florida law requires Danny to perform several duties as a fiduciary. First, he must administer the trust in good faith and accordance with the terms of the trust. This means that all financial decisions must be made with the beneficiary's best interests in mind. Danny must also act solely in the best interests of his family members and ensure that they receive fair treatment in all transactions. An important part of this responsibility is to provide regular updates to the beneficiaries on the state of the trust's assets, ensuring transparency in all operations. Danny must also provide detailed annual reports on how the trust is being administered so that the beneficiaries can review and evaluate the financial situation. Finally, the administration of the trust's assets must be conducted fairly, taking into account all the interests of the beneficiaries fully and fairly. The trust names all 4 Bennett children, Johanna, Antonia, Danny, and Dee, and Tony's wife Susan Crowe as beneficiaries. Tony wanted to take care of his whole immediate family through this trust. The trust document clearly states how Tony Bennett's assets should be split among his children. Court papers show that the family trust establishes Tony's intent to treat his 4 children equally. This equal treatment principle is the lifeblood of the daughter's legal claims. Bennett's will states that all his tangible personal property must be split equally among his children after paying the family trust's expenses. This rule applies to items in the trust and any personal property not yet moved to the trust when Tony died. Tony's estate planning documents consistently mention this equal distribution requirement. Court documents state that Tony expressed a clear intention and direction in his estate plans that all 4 of his children be treated equally. Tony wanted his children to receive equal treatment. Despite these clear rules, the trust has sparked family conflict. Tony Bennett carefully planned his estate by using a family trust. Yet the current lawsuit shows that even careful planning can't always prevent disputes, especially when one family member controls the whole process. Danny's role as both beneficiary and sole trustee creates natural conflicts between his interests and his duties to his siblings. This situation shows why the legal dispute surrounding Tony Bennett's estate highlights the importance of trustee accountability and fiduciary responsibility. These issues become even more complex when large assets and family dynamics mix. What do you think about the property dispute in Tony Bennett's family? Does having one person control all the assets create inevitable family conflict? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe.